Give an update here. Started on the approach trail yesterday. I got up here to this shelter last night, which is Black Gap Shelter, about 1.5 miles from the top of Springer Mountain, which is the start of the Appalachian Trail. I hiked up to the top of Springer this morning, and I'm back down here, and I'm heading back down to the start, about 7.3 miles. I got up here, did 7.3 miles yesterday in about 5.5 hours, I guess it was. So not as good a timing as I was hoping for. 600 and some odd steps going up the falls will do that to you. Most of it was uphill. One really nasty, gnarly downhill, steep section that I'm going to have to do uphill going back down here in a little bit. I'm not looking forward to. So, yeah, I just wanted to. I set up my tent last night. I meant to take a picture of how crappy I set it up, but I think I set my hiking poles that were supporting the front and the back of the tent. I think I set them a little bit too high. I went with what I thought was the recommendation, and I think I probably need to lower them a couple inches. Who'd have thought a couple inches would make that big of a difference? That's what she said that he said anyway. So the main purpose of this trip was to do a gear checkout. I wanted to kind of see if my gear was going to hold up through cold weather. Everything did pretty good. I stayed pretty warm. Did not sleep very well last night. It was cold, and I tossed and turned, and I rolling around in a sleeping bag on top of a sleeping mattress when both of them have slick surfaces just doesn't bode well. You end up sliding off the mattress. The mattress ends up sliding down to the bottom of the tent or off to the side, and I had to keep waking up and repositioning everything. Not to mention the fact that I had to get up, go to the bathroom about 3 times through the night. So I got up here a little bit after 4, probably closer to 5, and I was in the tent and in my sleeping bag at 7. I had to get up to go to the bathroom at 9 and 11, and then again at 4 o'clock this morning. Thankfully, they have a privy here. One of the things I learned is whenever I come into one of these shelter campgrounds, I'm going to try to get a spot that's kind of on the fringe of the area, so that I can just step outside of my tent and go to the bathroom. But where I was, there were tents on every side of me, and I just didn't. There was a full moon last night, I think. It was pretty. It lit everything up, so there would have been no privacy or secrecy in stepping out of your tent. If anybody was awake like I was, they would have known exactly what I was doing. And yeah, I just didn't want to face that already. Most of the other gear held up pretty good. I found out this jacket here, this Torvid jacket, makes an awesome pillow. Enlightened Equipment needs to market this as get the right size stuff sack and stuff this thing in, and it's an awesome pillow. I had a Sea to Summit pillow, but it was just as slick as everything else, and anytime I'd lift my head up, it would shoot out off the mattress, out from underneath my head, and I'd have to corral it and bring it back in. So I finally fished this jacket that was in a stuff sack out of the top of my backpack at the foot of my tent, and it fit underneath my head and neck just perfect, and I could shape it and mold it the way I wanted. I mean, it was a little bit slick, but not like that Sea to Summit pillow. So I'm going to save a few ounces by leaving that pillow at home from now on, and just bring this jacket with the stuff sack. Um, these gloves by Outdoor Research, they're really warm, but they lie when they say these things are touchscreen capable and handy. No, they do not work. I had to pull those off. I mean, they're not hard to get off and on, but I had to pull them off every time to do anything. Tie a shoelace, zip a tent, unzip a tent, everything. There just was no dexterity in them at all to me. I mean, they probably fit somebody else just perfect, but not me. But they're lightweight, and they kept my hands warm when I needed them to, so not going to complain too much about it. They're easy to get on and off. My pack worked fine. My water system worked fine. I need to get some stakes for my tent ground sheet, because it's so lightweight. If there was any breeze at all, and there was last night, and you try to lay it down, it'll go flying off the mountain. So I need to get some stakes to hold that down while I actually put the tent down on top of it. Maybe I just use the tent stakes until I get the tent there. I don't know. As long as I can get some little really cheap and lightweight stakes, I mean, they don't have to hold. They're not any kind of structural support. So let me see if I can flip this camera. I can show you where. I don't know if it keeps recording. Doesn't look like it does. I'll turn it around. I set my tent up right over there in that little flat clearing. I kind of learned also about where to pick a site to set it up. Now that I know where all the guidelines and tent stakes need to go, because the spot that I picked that I thought, well, this is the flattest spot. By the time I started pulling lines out and sticking them down, one of them was headed right into a tree. One of them, there was a campfire pit there, and actually staked it right in the middle of the former fire. Everything held though. It wasn't too windy here last night. It was a little bit of breeze every now and then, but you could tell up on the mountains it was just screaming. It sounded like rush hour at Hartsfield Airport, like a bunch of planes were taking off. But I mean, other than that, it really didn't get too cold. I did realize one of the features in my Enlightened Equipment quilt. When I got into it, I kept feeling a draft coming down, and I wasn't staying warm, and I was thinking, oh, this is going to be the end of me. I'm going to freeze to death on the approach trail. But this little button or whatever kept hitting me in the face, and whenever I reached up to look at what the hell it was a little clamp for a drawstring. So once I clamped that and pulled it, I kind of pulled everything in tight around, and voila, away goes the draft, and no issues after that. So a lot of things proved to be that this was a worthy endeavor to hike up here and do a field test and a shakedown of my equipment. And anyway, I will talk to you all later. I'll see about where and when I'm going to post stuff like this, if I'm going to post stuff like this. I want to keep it for my own, some videos for my own posterity every now and then, but with the battery situation the way it is, I'm just not sure how much I'm going to be able to run the camera. So anyway, everything looks good. Everything's still a go for March 27th launch. And I will get back with you and talk to y'all later. Bye.